Hello, happy Thursday, and welcome to my craft room. I hope everybody's doing good. So, tonight we are going to play with the Lazy Days stamp set. It's a really pretty stamp set. I'm sure you can find many things to do with this stamp set. But before we get started, I just have a couple announcements to make. It's the middle of the month, and we know how quickly the days pass us by. For the month of June, if you buy a starter kit, even just to become a hobby demonstrator and use the discount each month, for $99 you get to pick $155 worth of product. Hi, Fran. And also, the designer series paper sale, 15% off select items in the designer series paper. So I think if it was originally $12.50, hey, do awesome. It's down to like $10.60. So let's get started. So before I even sat down in my chair, I have to show you because maybe somebody knows off the top of their head where it came from. I found this tiny little stamp. Looks like the center of a flower. And I quick scanned all my sets that are not retired, and I did not notice it. So it must be a retired stamp set. Don't know where it's from. I'm going to have to go through all my sets. So tonight we are working with Basic White. This is Misty Moonlight, one of my favorite colors. We're also working with Soft Seafoam and Boho Blue. That's what I stamped everything in, Boho Blue, whether it's a... I do have the Daisy set. That's the one I think it is. Hey, Sheila. Hey, Karen. So I'm going to have to go back and really check it to make sure. All right, so we have a welcome to our street. And then I pulled out the Quiet Meadow stamp set and thought that the lone rocking chair we could do Thinking of You, and Heartfelt Love and Caring Thoughts Are With You. So it could be a really nice, a nice sympathy card, if sympathy cards can be nice. And then I did as you can see, I'm using the countries. Hey, Elizabeth. It's not the daisy. Okay. Thank you. The Countryside Corners dies and made a little treat holder, and I filled it with chocolate covered coffee beans. Okay, so it's just got a little box on the inside. Okay, so let's put that one aside, and we will start with the welcome. So I hope everybody's doing good. It finally stopped raining here, thank goodness. I'm glad it rained, but I'm glad the sun came out today too. So we're going to start off with some Basic White, 11 by 4 1/4, and it's scored at 5.5. And we're going to do Portrait. Let me turn on my other light so it just brightens it up a little bit. Hey, Kathy. And then, of course, we're going to layer it up. And I have some Misty Moonlight. Sorry about that. And it's 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have some basic white, 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And I ran it through the cut and emboss machine with the Quatrefoil emboss 3D embossing folder. So all we're going to do is adhere these together. Hopefully my glue works. Yep. And just adhere these together. I should have checked. You know, when you put it through the cut and emboss machine, sometimes it stretches that paper out just a tiny little bit. But that's okay. It's good. You need rain. So did we, Kathy. And finally it did rain. And we had probably 2 days. And I'd say not the whole day. Between a half a day and 3/4 of a day. And it was just very nice. All the trees and flowers and everything just seemed so happy. Even the birds were happy. I'm just gonna refold that because it was off just a hair. All right, so all I did was adhere the layers together. Then I cut the frame from the scallop contour dies, and this is the 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And I am going to pop this up onto the front of the card. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Let me just get my little pokey tool. Just so you know, registration is still open for my card folio class to go. You can get it with the stamp set. It's this one here. It comes with the folio and 6 cards and envelopes. I posted it in the group. All right, so there is our scallop contour frame. And we're just going to put that aside for a second. And we'll keep this in sight. And what I did was, and I don't have these on a sheet, but this die set comes with a die that you can die cut the rocking chair. And I did die cut one in Misty Moonlight. Okay. There's also a stamp, and you'll see that on the other card with a die to cut it out. Then we're going to take a piece of scrap paper or basic white, but a small piece that you have. And we're going to stamp this flower here. Let me just pull it out. Let's see. Might they be back in the sleeve? It is. So it's a cute little hanging planter. And we're going to grab our, I think I did it in boho glue, but I didn't do it full strength. So we're just going to grab some boho blue, ink it up, and I actually did, well, let me do it again. I stamped off and then stamped it because I didn't want it as dark. Oh, thank you, thank you. I didn't really want it that dark. All right. Then we have the basket of flowers. This one I did do full strength. And I'll just show it to you. All right, so that's the difference in the two, stamping off and then stamping full strength. And then I took the pagoda, I'm going to say it's a pagoda, and ran it through with some basic white. And I didn't do the whole length because I only want it for the scallop contour. Okay. And then we have this beautiful vine right here. And I cut one for the outside of the card. And this is in soft seafoam. I should have another one here. Yep. And I cut two for the inside. And then we have this cute little fence. I did it in basic white. And I actually did an additional one because you'll notice it's just a little bit short. And I wanted to get it all the way over to the second stitch line. Okay. So I cut two of those. I already did die cut the basket of flowers and the hanging basket. This way I could save some time. Now what I did, I wanted to keep the colors light. So for this one, all I did was grab light and dark seafoam. And I'm just going to quick color in the leaves. I'm not doing anything fancy. This is the light seafoam. So I'm just coloring in all the leaves completely with the light. And while I have this one here, I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm not being fussy. If we have some white showing through, that can be the shine of the sun reflecting on the leaves. Okay, so just really quick with light. And then I'm going to go back with the dark. And I'm just going to add some dark to some of the leaves just to give it a little bit of character. We're going to do the same thing on this one. We're just going to randomly pick some leaves and fill them in. And then I also took some light granny apple green just to add a few different colors of green. Okay. Yes, I can, Karen. I see your name. All right, now we're going to do the basket. And I'm going to start with light boho. And I am just going to add it under these leaves. And then underneath that first line and the second line. And then we're going to add some color where the artist added some color. And that was with light boho. Then I have dark balmy blue. And I'm just going to extend that line, add some here. All right, just not being too fussy. And then with the light, I am just going to quick give it a complete wash of color. If you wanted to get fancy, you could add some white paint to it. Okay. And then for the flower pot, the hanging pot, I am actually going to take some light smoky slate and I'm going to just go around these leaves and to that side of the pot. Then I'm going to take my color lifter and I'm going to go over that edge and color in the rest of the pot with the color lifter. And the reason being is that will pull the ink that I put in here and just give it a little bit of a shadow. Hi, Judy. All right. So that should be all our elements for the front of our card. So now we're going to take some basic white. And this is 3 7/8 by 2 5/8. I'm actually going to bring my silicone mat in. And let's grab our piece of paper. Okay. And I'm going to grab my boho blue and a little blender. And we're going to add some ink to this. And nope, too dark. We just want a light bit of color to the background. And I don't want it to be colored completely. I want it to look like the sky. And then I am going to take, we'll start with the fence. Now we know that we want our rocking chair. We want to stick welcome down here. So let's add our fence just about here. So we're going to just glue this down. And all I'm going to do is glue it, add glue to the top rail. It doesn't want to come out. And the bottom rail. And we're just going to lay this down right about there. Now before I go any further, let me just grab, you notice that it has some floorboards for the porch. I'm going to do that now before I go any further. And I have some Misty Moonlight. And I am going to just ink it up. I'm going to put one here. I want my welcome here. I'm going to put one here. And then we're just going to add one here. And I'm not too worried about spacing because we have other things that we're going to put here. And I am going to grab my boho blue and my welcome stamp. And we're going to put that on while I'm thinking about it. And I'm using boho blue. I changed it up from the original card. I should have done my slats in boho and my welcome in Misty Moonlight. Hey, Dawn. Sending smiles. That's the one I was thinking, Fran. I'm going to have to give it a look. But thank you. All right, so we have our one piece. Now I'm going to take my second piece, and I just want to add a little bit of glue. Come on, Mr. Glue. To the ends. And we just want to fill in this spot. So I'm just going to adhere it down. And I'm just going to give that a couple minutes to dry. Now I'm going to grab my dimensionals and my pagoda. Okay. I wanted this to be popped up a little bit, so I am going to take a very thin strip off the end. Oops. And I don't want it to be too big. And I'm just going to put it right up here along the top of this pagoda. Okay. And then even for these pieces, I'm not sure if I use these dimensionals or not. I did. Okay, so we can add one here because it fits perfectly. Let's see if it fits here. Just fits. And then one more. Okay, so there is our pagoda ready. Let's pull our card back in. And I'm just going to cut off, whoops, this fence. So now it is right across the front of the porch. Okay. And we can grab our pagoda, take our papers off. And I'm going to add this to the card. And I'm going to line up this piece here to the side of the paper, coming down a little bit past the porch. But I also want it to be lined up here. So it's going to go over just a little bit. Okay. So we just want to put that there. Whoops, hold on one second. No. I want to get this up here first. There we go. All right, so now we have it right there on the front of our card, and I can again turn it around. We're just going to cut that end right off. And I'm going to add just a little piece right to the end there, just so it doesn't flop around. Teeny tiny little piece. Get my papers off. I'm going to use my pokey tool to stick this in there. Oh, I hate when little tiny pieces. Sorry, guys. I just hate little pieces. They stick everywhere but where you want them to. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm just going to stick this right under here just to hold that piece up. All right. So now we're going to take our little hanging flowers, and I'm just going to add some adhesive to the center, and we are going to stick it up and under that pagoda, just so it's hanging there. We're going to grab one of our vines, and I'm just going to add glue to the back randomly, hoping we catch something. And we're going to add it right here to that post. We can grab our rocking chair and add our dimensionals. Let's see if we can get this to fit here. Yep. And we can add our rocking chair right over here. And then we have our flower pot that I'm also going to pop up, and we're going to have it so the flowers hit this post. All right, so we're just making a cute little scene. Now that that is done, we can pull in our card, and I'm just going to add some glue to the outside. We won't see our glue because we have so many elements. We want to get this on the front of our card. And there is our pretty little scene. All right, so we're going to grab our inside, and we have some Misty Moonlight, 5 1/4 by 4. And then we have 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And on this one, I have To Our Street and then the vines. So To Our Street is a very tiny little stamp. And because I stamped it in boho blue on the outside, I am going to do it on the inside this time. So we're just going to grab To Our Street, and I'm going to put it right down in that corner. Like I said, it's very tiny. And I'm going to actually adhere this to our layer, because I'm not gonna, I don't want to have to work, I'm going to have the vine so it overlaps even onto the boho Misty Moonlight. I keep wanting to call it boho blue, the Misty Moonlight. Okay, so again, we're going to just add some random dots, and I want to get these outside leaves so we make sure that it adheres down since we're on the inside. So I'll put those there. And then take our second vine, do the same thing. And we're actually going to take the stem, and we want to make sure it looks like it's attached. Let's do it this way. And add our second vine. Okay. Then we can insert this now on the inside of our card. Grab some glue. And there is our first card. So a cute little scene. Hey, hey. Right? Actually, we have new neighbors, so I am going to give that to our new neighbors. The husband speaks, they're from Colombia, and the husband speaks English, but not his wife. So here's card number 2. And I was thinking of a sympathy card. So we are working with all the same colors again. We have some basic white, 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. Excuse me, this time it's scored at 4 1/4. And we are going to layer it up. We have some Misty Moonlight. 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and then 5 1/4 by 4. And again, I ran it through with the Quatrefoil 3D embossing folder. I think this is my favorite embossing folder. This one in the Time Worn type when you want something subtle. Okay, so now we're going to adhere this to the front of the card. Oops. Get it on here even. There we go. All right. Then I grabbed that countryside, I want to say countryside corners. And I put it in my Stamparatus, okay? I know it's no longer around, but I am going to continue using it. And I added some Versamark, and I just did a quick embossing. I only really wanted the dots on the outside, so I didn't worry about the inside, okay? And die cut it with the largest die. Then I took the next die down in basic white, so it created my frame. Hey, Mimi Cakes. Yeah, time to learn Spanish. That's true. If either that or I'm going to download the app where you can talk into it and it translates for you, I think I'm going to do that. This way, at least I'll be able to talk to her or say something to her. They're really nice people. They're just young kids, young little whippersnappers, but they're really nice. All right, so we have our background here. I'm again going to pull in some scrap paper. I again want my blending brush, and wherever I put it, right here in front of my face, my boho blue. And we're just going to ink up, and we're going to add some blue to the top. Okay. And then we're going to grab some soft sea foam. I'm going to use another blending brush, and I'm just going to put some soft sea foam right down here, so it looks like there's some green, and not much. I don't want it to be too dark, but just so there is a different color in the background. Okay. I'm going to grab my boho blue. I believe that's what I used. And we have another arch. You can see the arch. And we're going to ink this up. And I'm going to try to get this middle piece to be in the center of this right here. And my paper is dirty, so let's do it this way. So right here, okay? And I'm going to line up this line on the top with the top of the paper. Hopefully I didn't mess it up. There we go. So now we have the arch on the top of our paper. I also want to add some of the planks to the bottom. I'm just going to clean this off quick. Lots of stamping tonight. So we're just going to Add some planks. Okay. Then I cut out some more. These are a different foliage in the same set. And I'm just, oh, here it is. Here's the die right here. And this is in the Lazy Days. And I want to add this to the background. And it's going to be behind our fencing. Okay. So we're just going to add some glue. I'm trying to get just a little bit. And we're just going to add this into the background. Let's put this one here. And then one more. So we're just going to create another scene. Just like that. Just one, oh, here it is. I accidentally threw my fencing away. All right, so now we're going to lay this down right on top of the foliage. I just wanted it to have something in the background. Could have added trees, but I wanted something just a little subtle. So we're just going to adhere this down, and we're going to do the same thing with our fencing again. I just want to fill in this space. So I'm just going to, this is still the same fence that I used on the other card. I just want that to adhere for a minute. Okay. So we'll just let that dry for a second. Pull our stamp set out and, oops, grab a piece of scrap paper, and I'll show you. You saw the rocking chair for the other whippersnapper, and you can see that you can stamp the rocking chair, and then it does have a die. Wait, whoops, my fingers have glue on it, that you can die cut it out. Let me just grab another block. And then we have this cute little table, and this is boho blue that also has a die that if you line it up correctly, there's glue on my fingers. All right, so we can die cut that table. And I actually did it ahead of time. All right, so we can put those aside for a second. We have our rocking chair and we have our table. And I actually grabbed some dark wild wheat, and we're going to add a line of dark wild wheat on the right hand side. And then I'm going to grab my light Daffodil Delight and I'm going to go over the edge of that line and color in the rest of the glass, just so it looks like they have something they are drinking Now we can pull our piece back in. We want to cut off this fence. I don't need that anymore, so we can throw it in the garbage. If we can get it off my scissors. Okay. So now here is our piece. I am just going to now adhere this to our piece, because I want the rocking chair and the table to come off of this piece. Okay, so we can adhere this down so it comes off. Now while I'm thinking it, give me 2 seconds. I forgot one piece. I wanted to die cut that pagoda, and I'll show you why in 1 second. I wanted to get a piece of the pagoda in Misty Moonlight. I forgot to cut it out. All right, so we have it in Misty Moonlight. All right, so let's get our chair. We're going to pop this chair up. Don't mind me, my dimensionals just disappeared. Let's use a new one. So we're just going to grab 2 dimensionals. I love how my stuff, I don't know what happens. It just walks away, it seems. All right, so we're going to put this rocking chair right about there. And then we're going to grab our table. And the table, I'm actually going to just adhere to the front of the card. So I'm just going to randomly put some glue around. And we're going to adhere this. I just want to make sure that it is straight. All right, so there is the front of our card so far. I have a piece of basic white that is a 1/2 inch by about 3 1/4 to this point. And we're going to grab our Thinking of You stamp. This time we are going to use our Misty Moonlight. And I got to make sure that this is on here straight. So let me just check this top line. Okay, so we have our Thinking of You. I'm just going to cut it down here now. Now I wanted this pagoda top so I could cut it in half. And I don't need all this, but I'm just going to cut it in half. And lay it down. And I'm going to add some glue to the bottom edge. And we're going to lay this down just so we have this blue sticking out the bottom. We'll give that a second to dry. Let's take some ribbon. And we'll make our bow. My fun fold video. Good question, Do. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I scheduled it for 2 o'clock tomorrow. I figured I'd do it in the afternoon. Time may change, especially if we have a doctor's appointment. But I will stick with it, so we'll just change it. I think it is scheduled though for 2 o'clock. That's what I want to say anyway. All right, so now we're going to trim this off. So we're going to trim it down here. And I'm actually going to trim it off there and trim it down here. I think it's already scheduled on YouTube, so I want to say 2 o'clock is what I chose. All right, so here is our sentiment with the little pagoda at the bottom. We're going to just put this right about there, and it's crooked. And I'm going to grab a glue dot. I'm going to grab a large glue dot that I have, because this ribbon, again, is pretty heavy. And we're going to put the bow right here. Okay, now I'm going to turn this over. Now that our scene is all complete, let's add some dimensionals. And grab our card. Make sure I have it opening the right way. And we're going to just line this up on the front. And there is the front of our second card. Let's grab the inside. It's 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, 5 1/4 by 4. And for this one, I'm using Heartfelt Love and Caring Thoughts Are With You. And I did it in boho blue. So we're going to just ink up. And I want to try to get this on here straight. So I'm using that top. And we're going to keep this out because we do have a little dove for each side. And then we can adhere this together. Grab our card. Okay, so there's card number 2. All right, just quick and not really too quick. Lots of stamping. All right, so the third project, again, lots of stamping. And I have chocolate covered coffee beans. And I'm using, again, the same colors. The only thing I changed was the frame. I used the largest die in the countryside corners, and I cut 2 out in the basic white, and then I stamped or embossed my white dots on the frame for tonight's, okay? When I cut the frame out with the 2 dies, this is the insert, and I saved it to add it to the other side, okay? Thank you so much. Okay, so then we have a back. So we have something on the back of our card. And I did cut out all my pieces. All right, so let's do this. Quick and easy little box. It's 7.5 by 5.25, and it's scored at 1 inch, 4.25, 3.25, 4.25. All right, just a quick and easy little box. Just gonna fold all our score lines. Make sure they're nice and straight. And I like to cut out my score lines, so I'm going on the outside of those bumps. And then we're just going to angle cut our tab. I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. Outside that score line, so we can get that bump out of there. And then miter or angle cut your tabs. All right. And so we don't have to wait for glue to dry. I'll use my Seal Plus. I'm going to put it close to the score line. Whoops. I pulled it. There we go. Close to the score line. That wasn't close. Let me turn it this way so you can see what I'm doing here. Come on. There we go. All right. So I am just going to fold in the tab on both sides, making sure it's straight. And then we're going to add whoops, it fell off again. We're going to add seal. Come on, you stinker. I'm going to put it towards the outside this time. And I did it again. And then close up the box. And again, just line it up so it's nice and square. And it's just a quick and easy little box. Okay. We're going to add the backing first. Here's my large die and the cutout from the frame. And we're just going to adhere these together. Get it on there straight. And then here is the seam, which really doesn't matter because you're not going to see it. So I'll make this the back of the box. And we're going to adhere this, fitting it in between these two corners and lining it up right at the bottom of the box. So we're just going to go in here with our bone folder and just make sure that's adhered really good. All right, so there's the back of our box. Quick. Now we're going to grab our piece for the front. Get my scrap again. And we have our little fancy, I'm going to call it a pagoda. And I think I used boho blue. And I'm going to try to center the center in the middle here. And I have ink on my fingers, I think. And I'm going to pull it down just a little because of the frame. All right. I know it starts, it ends, but you can see on here, I put the bird here and the hanging basket here, so you won't see those ends. Keeping my ink out, I'm going to grab my blending brush. I just want to add some blue to the background. I'm going to go all the way down. Then I pulled out, let me see, the Quiet Meadow stamp set. And this little leaf stamp, okay, because it resembled, excuse me, the little vine, at least a little bit, that we used on the other card. And we're grabbing some soft sea foam, and we are just going to ink it and stamp some leaves. And I don't want them all the same height. Let's put one here. Put one here. Because we got to remember the frame is going to be here too. So we'll just add a few in there. So I just wanted some leaves across the bottom. And I can pull this out now. And we're going to adhere the frame to this piece. So we're just going to add some glue. Because the white piece is the same size. And we're just going to line it up. Making sure our edges, my fingers have so much glue, that our edges are even. All right, so now our little scene is framed. What's on my hand? Oh, what, this? Is that what you're talking about? Sheba was, if that's what you're talking about, one day when I took Sheba out, she was going crazy because she gets so nuts outside. And I grabbed the leash and it cut my hand. All right, so we have that. These are the poles to that pagoda, and I am just going to trim it off right at that one knuckle there on both of them. All right, so now we have the two. I am going to add some glue, and we're going to put one, the heck is that? Right about here. And you can see I put it right down against the frame. And then we're going to take the second one against the frame again. All right, so there is the two legs. Oh, I don't know, probably. All right, so here are all my pieces. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing that we did to the other flower pots to keep everything pretty color coordinated. So I am just going to add, this is light boho blue. I'm just going to add it to that side of the house, under the roof, and the right side. And we'll do all my same colors. So that side, under the roof, and that side of the house. Let's grab our flowers or foliage. We're just going to add a little bit of color. Okay. Do the same thing to this one. Trying to keep everything at least a little bit uniform. Then we have our dark balmy blue. We're just going to extend on this color. Add it under those flowers. I'm going to same thing here. Okay. Light balmy blue. Just going to wash the whole basket in light balmy blue. And the same thing here. I'm going to go back to my birdhouses. It's keeping with the light balmy blue. I'm just going to extend this color, leaving that piece white. Okay. I'm going to go back to that color lifter, and I'm going to go over the edges and just color that whole white section in, and it'll just bleed right through. All right, so there are those. Now that I have this little pot here, we're going to go under the leaves and that side of the pot. This is the dark balmy blue, light balmy blue. Okay, so we're just following the same pattern that we've been following the whole time. Now I have my dark and light soft sea foam. We're going to start with the light, and we're going to color in all our leaves. Again, just color them in. Same thing with our basket. I don't care if white is showing, because it could be a highlight on the leaves. This basket. And I do color, try to anyway. I don't just scribble the whole thing. I do go leaf by leaf. And we're going to grab our dark and just randomly put some dark color in here. Not being fussy. It's just to add a little bit of character, nothing more. If you wanted to get crazy and do it really with shadows, you could do it. All right, so now all our elements out are colored. We can pull our piece back in. Oh, here's my dimensionals. We are going to take our birdhouses and we're going to add a dimensional to each one. And one, we're going to make sure it's up a little higher. We'll add it to that post. The second one I wanted lower, so we're just going to lower it onto that post. Okay. We're going to grab our hanging flower pot. Let's take that hole out there. And we're just going to add some glue. And I'm going to add it up here. See, it hides the end of that decorative stamp. We have another little dove. We'll grab a mini dimensional. And we'll put that one right about there. And with these flower pots, I'm just going to add a bit of glue to the bottom. And I'm going to add one on this side. More glue. And one on this side. We can pull our box back in. We're going to add glue to here and do the same thing. You want to line it up corners, making sure it comes to the end of the box. I'm going to turn it over, take my bone folder, and just rub it so it's adhered. And I don't have another one, but I just used a gusset bag. It's actually has snowflakes on it. And it just fits right inside. So if you would like these make and takes, go shopping using this host code, and I will send you these make and takes as my way of saying thank you. And there you go. Oops. Let's scoot these over so you can see this last one. So I hope you liked tonight's cards. They were pretty fun. I really like the thank you so much. I really like this set, and I like both Misty Moonlight. So I hope everybody has a great night. Again, I'm gonna pull it out tomorrow. First card for Fun Fold Friday. I'm using Playing in the Rain, and it is a double pop out. So if you would like to see how to make this, join me tomorrow on my YouTube channel. Hope to see you there. Thanks for joining me tonight, ladies. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.